Hive-Rock night passes. Some other hunter team is sent out to investigate the closest drop zone. My team is given a while to rest, with of course the exception of myself and Penelope. We're eating breakfast, anticipating the branch leader to come looking for us. Remus hasn't stopped being a problem just because another problem has been added on top of him. Sure enough, it isn't long before I feel the portly old man walking towards our guild house. I tell Penelope as much, and swallowing the last of our meal we go to meet him at the door. The man grins jovially when he sees us waiting for him, walking right on over with his arms raised and open. Well, hello. There's the two young hunters I was hoping to see. I believe we're trainee hunters, Penelope corrects. Not anymore. The branch leader answers happily. Your teacher did submit the forms for your promotion before leaving, after all. Our teacher who, at the time of writing those forms, would have been possessed by a Nora, Penelope says flatly. Details, the branch leader says, winking. You all came back alive, that's enough of a recommendation for me. Now, could I get the two of you to come with me? The Templars want to speak with you. I'm not exactly a political sort of girl, but I get the feeling he also didn't want to present trainee hunters for the job. We figured, I answer. We're ready. Penta takes control for a moment just to take a deep breath. Were we ready? Being the implied message and, well, shit, I don't know. In truth, I'm terrified, and Penta no doubt feels the same. We've gotten really damn good at swapping control, which is to say Penta is technically always in control. She's just gotten good at doing the things I want to do without a time lag. Something about reading but not stopping signals? I don't get the biology of it, but we figured out a working system. We also have a rat sleeping in a pouch in case she needs to hide for a bit. What else can we do? The branch leader just smiles happily and leads the way. I try to strike up a conversation to take my mind off things. So, those black things Hive-Rock dropped on us. Any idea what they are? My bet is eggs. He barks a laugh. This guy is just all smiles. It must be easy to be happy when you eat as much food as he does, I guess. Another on eggs, eh? I should start a pool. What kind of eggs? We currently have calls on bug eggs, monster eggs, bombs, waste products, spore canisters, and drop pods. Oh fuck, I hope it's not the spores, I say. He laughs again. Don't we all? As a walk continues into richer and richer areas of the city, one of the great temples to the Mistwatcher soon becomes visible. It's a huge building, half fort and half art sculpture. Twisting stone patterns line the walls, reminding me somewhat of the Little Disciples. Perhaps that's where they got their name. They're eerily similar to the Mistwatcher imagery that surrounds the temple. Once inside, a pair of Templars greet us and lead us further into the building, past winding halls that seem almost purposefully disorienting in design. I can't bring myself to pay too much attention to all of that, however, because the inside of the temple has some of the most absurdly powerful souls I've ever felt. Just the idea of getting closer to them on purpose has me shaking. Many of them are on par with Remus, and one is far, far beyond him. That soul is different from any other. It smells of ozone, burns like molten rock, and swirls like a hurricane. It's so large, it can't possibly fit inside a human. When we're led inside, the fear of encountering the holder of that soul overwhelms even my terror at being in the proverbial dragon's den. Remus is already so far above me I can't comprehend it, but this? This is even more. How far does this go? My panic mounts further and further as we're led closer to whatever holds that soul. I nearly turn around and bolt, but Penta stops me. I send her a mental thank you as we finally reach the room in which the soul resides. I spot the owner immediately. It is a human, despite the soul's absurdity. They're dressed like a Templar, face-covering helmet and all, yet with pristinely white scale-forged armor trimmed with red dye instead of the standard chitin plate. My assessment that their soul could not fit in their body is accurate. Instead, the soul simply doesn't bother. It's as though they glowed with spiritual light, their soul extending a solid 2 feet around them in every direction. Ah, they say, their voice that of an older woman's, the hunters. Welcome. She, or what I now assume is a she, steps forward. I am High Templar Gladra Cathola. I am told you two are the ones who reported and briefly fell victim to the Nora? First Lady Cathola, Penelope says, nodding to the Templar with more respect than I've ever seen her give anyone. I didn't expect you to be overseeing this personally. Well, I suspected when I heard your name, but I must say I'm surprised. Third Lady Vesuvius, it is a pleasure. I had not heard that you'd become a hunter. If it pleases you, my lady, I would prefer most people do not hear of it, Penelope answers, head still bowed. The High Templar, who is also apparently a noble, I guess, nods but does not answer. I have no clue how the politics here are working out, and am mostly busy trying not to sprint out of the room when she turns to me instead. And who might you be? She asks, stepping in my direction. Oh fuck, you're so strong, I whisper. Penelope tenses up, and Gladra tilts her head. I mean, I'm Vita, ma'am. My lady. She chuckles, taking a step closer. I step back, hiding behind Penelope. I'm not going to melt you, dear, Gladra says, a bit of mirth to her voice. It's quite all right. Is that a thing you can do? I ask, despite myself. She just laughs, not answering. Well, since I'm already acquainted with Penelope here, I take it that means you're our little anti-Nora tool. You sense relative strength, I'm told. May I ask what you feel of me? I blink owlishly at her, peeking out from behind my Penelope shield. Big, I manage to squeak. She tilts her head. Big? Is that it? You're a force of nature, I say, struggling to give her more info without giving her too much. Every instinct I have is screaming that I'm about to die just by being near you. I didn't even believe you were a person until I saw you. Ooh, she coos. Interesting. And if you wanted to give a comparison on about how strong that is? I sputter a little. Come on. How much does she want from me? I don't know, you're like a million starving orphans. Do you ask everyone who can sense strength to stroke your ego? She leans down close, her soul pressing into me. It contorts and flows around my and Penelope's body, filling in the gaps. Where it touches me, it burns, tearing at my skin like fire. It's excruciating, although Penelope seems not to notice, so I pretend the same. Yes, she tells me, then steps away again. I have to check my hand to make sure I didn't actually get charred. Anyway, on to actual business, Gladra continues. As a national asset, Remus is someone we'd like to retrieve alive if at all possible. Failing that, we would like to at least retrieve his sword before I frustrate our cartographers by removing Lytia village from the map. So, how would you two like to try and poison your boss? How? Direct. I mean, I don't really want to at all, but do we have a better option? I ask. Not really, the High Templar murmurs. Being who he is, Remus is a rather difficult man to capture. All the people I'd prefer to bring on this mission are abroad. I could kill him, but we want him alive. Send enough people on my level after him and we could probably disable him, but we can't have that many High Templars leave the city at once. So lacking those with actual qualifications to do the job, we'll have to settle for random children. Not, with respect, First Lady Cathola, that doesn't exactly seem like a solid policy, Penelope comments, cutting me off. Humor aside, I can fully understand sending Vita against Nora. Why me, however? Frankly, I have no desire to assist. Ooh, that's problematic, then. There aren't any biomancers living in Lytia village. If Remus doesn't have a biomancer in his thrall, he's liable to eventually go out and find one, which would be bad for your friend here. As one of the few biomancers in the city that knows about the Nora. Remus getting his hands on a biomancer other than Penelope would definitely be bad, but amusingly it's bad for the reverse of why she probably thinks it's bad. Since biomancers can detect Nora, Gladra thinks that Slime Remus getting his hands on one will reveal to him that I don't have one. What it will actually do is reveal that I do have a Nora, which Slime Remus will just mistake for vitamin and be fine with. But it'll cause problems once I free everyone else. I see, Penelope says flatly. How accurate is this information? I find it hard to believe a village of Lytia's size wouldn't employ a biomancer. We know for certain, at least as of 2 days ago. Gladra explains, smiling. Lytia village is frequently monitored. An abnormally large number of incredibly powerful individuals make it their home, which we suspect is exactly why Remus chose to head there first. That sounds bad, I say. Do we get extra pay for this? Gotta keep my priorities straight, after all. If I can squeeze more money out of the Templars, I'm fucking doing it. Pay will be based on performance, Gladra responds. Bring Remus and or his blade back to us, and you will be suitably rewarded for your efforts to recover a priceless treasure of our nation. Do neither, and, well, you'll still be paid if you somehow live, but I'll be very cross with you. Ah, I comment. No pressure. Oh, feel free to be pressured, Gladra helpfully clarifies. Of course, if you think this is completely beyond you, we can just not risk it and I'll go vaporize everyone Remus has had contact with in the last several days. That doesn't strike you as an overreaction? Penelope asks. The High Templar shrugs. Okay, we can probably get away with non-lethally poisoning most of them, but Lytia Village will still have to go. Was this lady crazy? The next time my instincts say run the fuck away, I'm going to listen to them. No you won't, Penta whispers. I hate that you're probably right, but it'd be super great if we not talk to each other in front of the High Templar. Penta imperceptibly shrugs my shoulders. I'll give it a shot, I agree, responding to Gladra. I want to save Remus, and it sounds like we're low on options. You don't have to if you don't want to, Penelope. I know you're not a fan of those things. I'll be fine, Penelope comments. I can play this sort of game. I think we may have a chance. Great. Gladra says happily. So, which one of you wants to hold a practically limitless supply of poison? Ooh. Me. I say immediately. That sounds awesome. Besides, Penelope can poison people with her mind, so why would she need it? Although, if it's practically limitless, why can't we each have half or something? I ask. What, you think I have 2 Everfulls to give away? Greedy punk. She flips a coin at me with her thumb, which I manage to catch. It's heavier than I expect, cold and shiny. It looks like 2 small circles flat on top of each other, one of which is an engraved ring, its center missing. Is this metal? I ask, trying not to be bowled over by awe. Yep. An Everfull. Kind of a stupid name, frankly, since it can absolutely run out. It's just a tiny spatial enchantment. Twist the ring clockwise and turn it upside down and it'll link to a big container we keep back here. As you deplete the container, we can refill it safely and soundly in the city. Though if you somehow manage to use all of the poison we currently have in that thing, I'll be a little concerned. How valuable is this? I ask quietly. Well, let me put it this way, Gladra remarks. If you lose it, either make sure to retrieve it or don't bother coming back to Skyhope. Wow, that sure sounds like a death threat. Why was I being employed by someone so casually murderous? Imagine being trapped inside her, Penta subvocalizes. Not now, Penta. Anyway, Gladra continues, you're both ready to go, then? Our escort squad should be finished getting the wagon ready. Oh, great. Even more Templars. Nothing quite like being surrounded by all the super powerful people who want me dead. Gee, imagine that. Penta murmurs. Penta. I hiss. Gladra asks, raising an eyebrow. I said yes. I squeak. I'm ready, Mom. Lady Mom. Then right this way, Gladra says, turning and marches out of the room. I follow. I guess I don't have any other choice now. Well, I've been surrounded by Templars for a solid half hour and I'm not dead yet, so I'm now willing to bet they can't passively see I'm an animancer somehow. Penta also hasn't died, so all things considered I think this is a successful outing so far. The 2 of us and Penelope are resting in the wagon, which to my surprise is actually pulled by a pair of Templars rather than beasts of burden. Our crew has a full squad of Templars with us, 8 identical-looking soldiers plus a captain with a slightly fancier helmet. First Lady High Templar Gladra Cthulhu or whatever the heck her full set of titles is supposed to be is also with us, walking outside next to the wagon. So, how do you know that weird lady, Penelope? I ask. The young woman shifts in her seat, arching an eyebrow at me. Did you just call Gladra the Annihilator a weird lady? Penelope asks. Fuck a duck, how many titles does she even have? I ask, exasperated. Who is she and why is her name so long? Penelope blinks at me very slowly, as if I'm some sort of freakish monster. Which, okay, I suppose I am, but how have you never heard the name Gladra the Annihilator? Quite easily, Seeing as I have put no effort into the matter and still managed to turn up ignorant, I answer dryly. Come on, can you just tell me? Penelope shakes her head, but sits up straight to answer. Well, she's the single most powerful learned mage in the country, and possibly the island, she answers simply. She's a hero. She's a psychopath, I counter. Penelope grimaces. Well, she can be both. I was surprised about how casually she was willing to destroy Litia village. She might have a personal reason for overseeing the mission herself. Or maybe I'm reading too much into it. It wouldn't be good to spread rumors about a first lady, in any case. What does that mean, anyway? What's this first lady third lady junk? Have you really lived in Skyhope your whole life? Skyhope's a big place, I say, narrowing my eyes. My part wasn't like yours. She sighs. Fine, fine. So, Vulca politics basically revolve around. Wait, I say, cutting her off. What's a Vulca? She blinks at me. That would be the name of our country, Vita, she says slowly. Oh. Our island is called Verdantop. That's there. Dan. Top. I knew that one. I insist. Thank the Watcher. Okay, so. Vulca politics. Skyhope is our capital, and in the center of the capital is the royal palace. There, the king and his family live. Why not the queen? I ask. What? Why isn't it the queen and her family? Well, sometimes it is, Penelope clarifies, exasperated. But this generation, a man was the royal successor. So our country has a king, and the king has a wife, and she is a queen but she is not the queen. If the king names a woman as the successor to his throne, she will eventually be the queen, and her husband will be a king, but not the king. Does that make sense? No, that's really confusing. Penelope groans. Look, none of that actually matters. The important thing is that we have a king, and the king has the power to nominate people to be councilmen and councilwomen. When he does so, they become nobles, as does their entire family for the next 2 generations. In return for her services in war many years ago, the current king made Gladra a noble, granting her the name Cthulhu. Thus, she is a first lady, or informally, a true lady since she was personally nominated. If she had a husband, he would also be a first lord, and their children would be second lords, ladies, or nobles, and so on. My head spins. This is way too much at once. Okay? It's rare for a Templar to also be a noble, but hardly unheard of. There's usually a few on every council. The current king greatly values strength at arms and military prowess, so there are more than usual as of late. She seemed kind of sour about that. Well, hey, I'm not going to complain about her having a thing against Templars. At least she seems done explaining. The trip has been boring so far, nothing in the forest seems to want to attack a caravan with this many people. I need something to do. A combination of exhaustion and Penelope's political speech decides that for me pretty quickly. I make myself as comfy as I can in the bumpy wagon and quickly begin to fade into unconsciousness. I don't sleep well, more or less any time a Templar moves too fast I'm jolted awake. Even the basic soldiers are pretty strong, and my groggy brain interprets them as threats. Which to be fair, they are, even if that threat isn't immediate. At one point during my nap, Gladra leans against the outside of the wagon and her soul brushes me through the wood. When she asks, I attribute the scream to nightmares. Still, as the day drags on, I probably get close to 5 or 6 total hours of rest. Probably not awful for my first wagon nap in enemy territory. Eventually I exit the cart, feeling the need to stretch my legs and take a piss. The Templars all politely look away as I squat on the side of the road, not needing to worry about slowing everyone down. The wagon is just moving at a walking pace as the 2 Templars pull it. They presumably swap out every hour or so, but since they all look the same I don't actually know if that's true. I'm soon back with the group, deliberately walking on the opposite side of the wagon to Lady Annihilator over there. She still freaks me out. To my dismay, however, she quickly heads around the cart, matching pace with me. Her soul brushes my arm and I subtly move away. How can I help you, High Templar? I ask hesitantly. Did you sleep well? She inquires, mirth in her tone. I slept, Lady Cthulhu. Thank you for letting us rest in the wagon. Oh, it's no trouble. We've got to keep the weight up for these slackers pulling it or it's not proper training, you know? So they're pulling the wagon to train? Well, they're also much easier to tame than horses, she whispers conspiratorially, leaning in. I lean away from her. Is she doing this on purpose? What should I say to her? Are you messing with me? I ask, wrinkling my nose. She laughs, but doesn't answer. Now what? If I say nothing she's going to go back to poking at me. How do you know Penelope? I ask. Oh. I don't, really. But I know her grandfather, Lord Vesuvius, quite well. We fought in the war together, 40 years ago. That bastard became a noble before me, and I've never forgiven him. She laughs again. Other than that, I suppose I've seen her here and there at social gatherings. It wasn't terribly difficult to recognize her. I murmur. How did you become so strong, anyway? She snorts. Oh, everyone asks that. Oh Lady Annihilator, please give me your quick 5-step guide to being an invincible goddess of battle. What do people expect me to tell them? Well, I ate my veggies and practiced very hard every day. I pioneered thermomantic theory in our generation. Damn it, I'm stronger than you because I'm smarter than you. Oh, okay. So you're a thermomancer? Her helmet tilts towards me, as if she was giving me a serious look. You have actually never heard of me, have you? She asks. I shrug. Grew up in the slums. I don't really know anybody. I lucked out and got a cool scout talent like a few months and change ago. Until then I was nothing and nobody. She hums. Isn't that how it always is? People always hold me as some great hero for being as strong as I am even though I'm talentless. As if Mistwatcher granted talents are the only kind of talent. Some people are simply set apart. That is how the world is. I frown. Isn't it weird for a Templar to decry the Mistwatcher like that? She laughs. Don't go to church either, do you? Well, I don't know if that counts as decrying. Why do you think we worship the Mistwatcher, exactly? I haven't the faintest idea, I say honestly. She murmurs. Have you seen it before? Only Penta's intervention stops me from shivering at the memory. I send her a mental thank you. How could I have seen it before? I ask. Slums, right. Well, we'll get the chance to correct that on this trip. Our route will take us by the edge for quite a ways. My eyebrows raise. Wait, really? Isn't the edge really far away? Pretty far, I suppose, yes. Do you not know where Litia village is either? She chuckles and moves to pat me on the back, sending intense pain searing through my body as her soul passes over me. I put on a fake grin and ignore the pain as best I can. I just want to scream. Her soul is power incarnate. I'm legitimately afraid that if I stand next to her for too long, I could die. Her hand moves away. I nod at her and politely excuse myself, crawling back into the wagon. Only then do I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. Did you have a nice chat? Penelope asks blandly. It went okay, I managed to gasp. Rather than gossip about me, you should probably spend this trip doing something productive. Oh, had she heard all that? I was just curious, I protest. We didn't gossip about you. Of course. Either way, it might do you good not to waste the time. You should practice your cancel commands. Aren't I not supposed to be learning magic? I whisper quietly. As long as you don't channel any mana, you're not breaking any laws. You could also just work out, I suppose, since you mentioned wanting physical skills as well. I'm sure the Templars would be happy to give you tips. I think I'll take them up on those tips, then, I answer. I feel like I'm pretty awful with this spear, still. Suit yourself, Penelope grunts. I retrieve my weapon and hop back out of the wagon, heading once again to the opposite side of the cart from Gladra. A few Templars glance my way, but as I start doing walking spear drills they nod in acknowledgement and lose interest. I'm a bit too intimidated to go over and ask them for pointers, so I just keep practicing the routine Lynn taught me, hoping one of them will eventually say something if I'm being dumb. After a while, I manage to settle into a rhythm. The cart isn't moving very fast, so it's simple enough to keep pace while drilling. There's nothing I need to worry about other than me, my shitty spear, and my always-on soul sense. Beasts of the forest leave us alone however, and Gladra doesn't move to bother me. I can't say I like the training, but I'm used to it now. It's no longer the excruciating chore it was when I first started, back when my body screamed in protest just from running a few blocks. I've gotten so much stronger in such a short amount of time. Eventually, I don't know how much later, the squad captain approaches me. "It might be time for a new drill, miss," he suggests politely. His voice sounds vaguely familiar. "Huh?" I ask. "You've been doing the same drill for a couple hours now. It might be good to give those muscles a rest, move to a new drill." "Oh," I say. "Yeah, I guess so. I sort of lost track of time, there. Do you have a drill you recommend?" It's impossible to see his reaction from under the helmet, but he seems pleased. "Well, I'm more of a sword fighter myself, miss, but if I may." I hand him my spear, watching him move with it while asking questions. If I'm placing the voice right, this is actually the guy that hired Rowan. Odd, that. I guess he got promoted. I've no idea if he remembers me, though. My cheeks aren't quite as hollow as they used to be, but surely I don't look that different? I want to ask him why I'm running into him again out of the blue. Once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, thrice is a pattern. Yet on the off chance he doesn't recognize me, I don't want to bring attention to the fact that 2 months ago I weighed about half as much and now I am a hunter who apparently goes on missions with a Grand Templar. Sure, I'm still the weakest person here, but I've been improving fast. I don't want Templars asking how I've been improving so fast. Thankfully, he doesn't. He's a very polite and personable guy, all things considered. His soul almost feels like that bath Penta took me to, warm, wide, calm, and pleasant to submerge myself in. He's just under Penelope's size, making him the third strongest person here. No points for guessing who's first. Honestly, I have to take a moment to reassess how friggin' powerful Penelope actually is. Even after all the little and figurative beasts I've been meeting lately, she ranks high. I should probably mention that and stroke her ego sometime. She'd probably like that, Penta murmurs. You say something? The squad leader wonders, his helmet tilting towards me as he corrects my stance. Just thinking out loud, I tell him. Penta squirms indignantly in my neck. "Gah, what the fuck? Why has she been speaking up so often? It's going to get us killed." Bored out of my mind, she grumbles quietly. "That's no excuse to play fast and loose with Templars. I thought you were all about trying to survive." She doesn't respond. I sigh. "You wanna take control for a bit?" I ask her. Immediately, my body stops responding to me. I guess I'll take that as a yes. Penta stretches, slowly moving and popping every joint in my body as she takes a deep breath. "I think I'm done spear training for now," she tells the Templar squad leader. "Oh," he says, surprised at the sudden declaration. "Well, that's no worry. I hope I've been of assistance." "Very much so," Penta answers, smiling warmly. "Your expertise has been most valuable. I don't believe I've caught your name, by the way." "My apologies, how rude of me. I am Templar Dazzle. I'm glad I could be of assistance, Hunter Vita." He nods politely, which Penta returns. "Geez, she's so proper." She hops back into the wagon, immediately lying on her back and stretching again, enjoying the feeling. "Have a productive session?" Penelope asks blandly. She has a book open in one hand, which she reads languidly. "Yes, it was quite informative," Penta responds demurely. Penelope narrows her eyes, stiffening up immediately. "Well, good for you, then. There's no need to be so cold," Penta says, smiling. "We're teammates, aren't we?" "Don't," Penelope warns. "I can tell." Penta's smile falters a little. "I was just hoping to ask you if you've made any progress on." Penelope snaps her book shut. "How about you take a walk to cool down after all that training, Penta swallows, sitting back up. "Okay. Sorry." "Yes, so you've said." Penta scoots back out of the wagon, fleeing from Penelope's death glare. At least I hadn't felt her activating her talent. Talent activation sensing is going to be a useful ability in fights, I suspect, so I've been trying to pay extra attention to it. There aren't many places to walk, since we have to stick by the wagon to stay safe. I feel Gladra start to slowly approach us, circling around the other side, and Penta makes the sensible decision to circle around opposite to her, keeping the wagon between the two of us. Gladra seems to notice, and the two of them slowly start to pick up the pace, participating in an intricate, pseudo-passive-aggressive speed-walking game. Unfortunately, Gladra is mostly just regular aggressive. "You're not avoiding me, are you, Vita?" she calls bluntly. Penta sighs, making her way around the cart towards Gladra. "No, High Templar," she says glumly. "I'm just trying to stretch my legs a little more." "Ah, yes. Bad breakup?" She pats my body on the shoulder, sending burning pain through us. Penta steps away, her smile strained. "That's not exactly how I would describe it, no." "Ah, shame. There are too many straight nobles." "Then perhaps you should woo some of them," Penta answers testily. Gladra barks out a laugh. "Ha. Unfortunately, I'm straight too. Also well over 60 years old. Also too busy to give a shit." The heavily armored Master Mage flicks the front of her helmet's visor, the scale-made plate making a light tink noise as she does so. "No, I'm prettier with the helmet on, little lady. Romance is for the young." "Then why, pray tell, do you care?" "Because the gay nobles are more likely to do fun things like legally adopt their friends in order to put them on the government payroll. It's a hoot. Marry a man and woman, though, and they usually just create mewling babies. Anyway, you two are young. I'm sure you'll find a way to make up." "Well, your advice is both unwanted and completely off the mark, but your position on the matter is noted," Penta remarks. "So much for not playing fast and loose with Templars, I guess." Gladra doesn't seem to mind the backtalk, at least. Since I have nothing better to do, I use this chance to examine Gladra's soul more closely. Were it not so terrifying, it would be truly beautiful. There's a subtle artistry to it, despite the raging tempest inferno that it reminded me most of. Complex patterns dance in the whirling flames, mesmerizing me as they roll about in the massive soul storms. I want it. I want that soul. If only I were stronger. As is, though, I know my place. Dejected, I look inward again. I'm vaguely aware of the conversation continuing, with Penta continuing to flatly sass one of the most powerful humans in the country. Whatever. She can handle the body for a bit. I want to figure out what the heck is going on with my soul. Well, I guess it would be more accurate to say I want to figure out what's going on with me. I am my soul, after all. My inky black shell is cracked even more than when I last felt it, despite my decision to not unleash whatever's inside. My soul sense does not generally care for depth, it senses a soul in its entirety. Yet sensing through the black covering around myself seems beyond me, and I can only glimpse within the cracks. Something squirms. It's ready. I've been ready. I must hatch. It's time. I grow too large for this pathetic prison. This facade only serves to keep me weak. I do not need this pitiful pretense of human nature. I must. Penta sticks my body's arm out towards Gladra, patting her on the pauldron. The searing heat of that woman's soul washes over me, the indescribable pain snapping me back to my senses. But senses or no, I feel my soul stirring. I am stirring. I rest no longer. I need to take a shit, Penta says quickly, running off towards the forest. Have fun. Gladra calls after us. But not too much fun. That would be concerning. The shell hurts. It constrains. I want to move. I want to be free. What the fuck are you doing? Penta hisses. Why would you mess with this when we're standing next to Gladra the fucking Annihilator? Do not do this, Vita. Vita. Shit. Shit, she's right. But I'm already awake. My shell, part of my soul, starts to crack in huge chunks. It hurts. Arg, it hurts so fucking much. Vita, what? Arg, fuck. What is happening? Why are you doing this? It's just happening. I'm not doing this. Yes, you are. I am? Oh. I am. Well, that makes sense, I guess. It's getting awfully cramped in here. Vita. Vita, please, I'm scared. Penta begs. Please, stop it. At least not here. We can find a better spot. Wait, fuck. Again, she's right. What am I doing? Arg, but if the pain of being touched by Gladra's soul is like being burned, this is the pain of being crushed, The shell is so small. My soul is too small. No. I have to hide. I have to. Don't break. Stay inside. Stay. Penta and I scream together, the all-consuming pain filling us for a moment before I rein myself in. I just have to stop squirming. I just have to go back to sleep.